Hello everyone. Hello from my cat, Momo, the guest host today.
Special guest.
No, Momo is not the special guest, Naho, but of course we know who is. So students, get ready to start asking questions, and coaches. Today we have two guests, Asha and Gloria. Hey.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome. All right. So before we get started with questions, let's have each of you introduce yourself first, a little bit about you. Gloria, we could start with you.
For sure. Yeah. So my name is Gloria. I go to school at UC Santa Barbara here in California. I study film and media studies along with music and Japanese. And some of my hobbies include playing music, playing video games, hanging out with my friends, working out, and traveling. So that's a little bit about me.
Asha? Thank you, Gloria.
So my name's Asha. I just graduated from NYU. My major was an individualized study major. I studied new media marketing, production, and Japanese. And some of my hobbies are playing video games, hanging out with friends, dancing occasionally, and learning how to crochet. And that's a little bit about me.
All right. Well, nice to meet you both. And students, now is the time to ask any questions for Gloria and Asha, or coaches, of course. But first, we always ask first to both of you, what are your interests in Japan? Have you been to Japan? Do you want to go? What are your interests in Japan?
I don't know if Asha, you'd like to go first, or I can go first, or
I can go first. So I've been wanting to visit Japan since I was about 9 years old. I was supposed to visit last year for an international exchange program. And in my free time in college, I was a part of Japanese Cultural Association. So I got to learn a lot about Japanese culture.
yeah. My interest in Japanese language and culture has kind of started ever since I was a little kid. I'm sure a lot of the fellow coaches and leaders and probably senior leaders can relate to this, but when I was, I think about in 4th grade, me and my dad would always watch Japanese anime every Saturday. So that's kind of what kickstarted my interest in Japanese language and culture. And in middle school and in high school, I began to self-study Japanese. A way that I frequently practiced my Japanese pronunciation was actually through singing a lot of Japanese songs, embarrassingly enough. But I really, really loved, and I still do, Japanese music, Japanese media, and I'm still studying it right now, and I hope to visit Japan really, really soon. I still have yet to visit. I was planning on visiting actually during the summer of 2020, but unfortunately COVID happened and that did not happen. But I am still really excited to eventually go and to continue my Japanese studies and language studies.
Yeah, so you're both studying Japanese right now. We had a good question yesterday. I will ask you. Oh, wait, here's a comment.
Yeah, here's a comment, Asam-san, saying, do you have any favorite singer?
Oh,
that's great. I can see the question pop up, and it's great because I can read it all. I know all the kanji. Skina. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Favorite? That's really difficult. So when I was younger, I think probably some of my favorite singers were actually singers from, I'm sure you guys know, but Vocaloid singers. They're like, they're not real singers. They're like synthesized like programs that you can get them to sing whatever you want. So I really, really like Hatsune Miku and like all of the people from Vocaloid. But recently I started getting more into other artists such as oh, this is putting me so much on the spot. I'll have to like look over my like Spotify playlist, but Asha, do you have any while I think about
more? I have a few. So I really like listening to Goose House sometimes, that band. I also love Vocaloids too. Favorite Hatsune Miku song is The World Is Mine. I had it memorized in middle school, like fully memorized. And then I really like, I forgot his name, but he sings the song Lemon. I love that song.
I love that song too. Yeah, I don't know. We had to look up the artist. Gloria, did you have more?
Who's the singer?
Someone says, I love Vocaloid. Vocaloid is great. I think on the topic of Vocaloid, probably one of my favorite songs is Zenbon Sakura. It's really good. Really, I'm sure that's really popular in Japan as well. But Yoasobi, I think, is one artist, and Eve. Or I think another one is Soraru, is another kind of singer. Maybe some people know of them, but those are some of my favorites.
Well, we've definitely got another Vocaloid fan.
Another Japanese comment, if you can. Read
it. A little too difficult for me. Please translate.
It's about what do we like about Japanese culture, right?
Correct.
Oh, welcome to Global Japanese Camp.
Japanese culture. So it's happy to see you guys like so much Japanese culture. 日本文化が好かれてるのは嬉しいっていうコメントをいただきました。気軽に日本語で皆さんコメントをしていただいて結構ですので、何でもコメント書いてください。We got another comment here. Do you know Mafu Mafu?
Yes, I do.
Singer?
Mafu Mafu, yes, I do. They cover a lot of Vocaloid songs. I'm very familiar with them.
Now I remember who's the singer for Lemon is Yonezu Kenshi. Right?
Yeah,
yes.
Great song.
Famous singer.
I will have to listen to Mafu Mafu though. I don't know, so that's my homework. Oh, another one.
マフマフを知っているなんてすごい。Surprising that you know マフマフ。
Yeah, I was super into Japanese vocalists in middle and high school. Still even now as well.
Lina san says she commented us yesterday too, so thank you, Lina san. And she said, any of you knows 100人一首. We talked about it yesterday. You know, Asha, 100人一首?
The 100 the poems for Haruda, right?
100人一首. Karuta?
Karuda. Yeah. Yes. I read about it in my Japanese class, and it was like we talked about a lot of the translations to different languages, and then we talked about the translations even to Japanese now and how it's different and how you have to really know the cultural context for a lot of the poems.
Correct. Yes, because it's Heian period poem. So even for us, it's difficult to understand sometimes. But it's beautiful poem. Thank you, Rina-san. Oh, and she's so happy that Asha, you know the 100人一首.歌い手も有名なんですね。All right. At the beginning, Matt, did you want to ask something else?
Yeah. As we're waiting for other questions, since we've been doing a lot of talking a lot about Japanese, and you both study it. And so I think some students asked yesterday, I thought it was a great question, if you have a favorite Japanese word. We're studying English here, but what about in Japanese, word or phrase?
I think the one that comes to my mind, it's a concept, omoyari. I found it really fun to learn about that concept in my Japanese class. And I find it fun to explain to my friends who don't know what it is, exactly what it is. Because it's very encompassing for a lot of, it's just very encompassing for a single word to mean that much.
Good answer. Gloria, do you have a favorite? Any word or phrase?
Oh, this is probably quite a departure from Asha's, but I will say it's difficult to think of a favorite word or phrase, but I really do like the katakana, like loan words that are also used in English and Japanese. And I think probably one of my favorite ones that is always really funny for me to think about, because it's really difficult for a lot of English native speakers to say, is McDonald's, which is McDonaldo. And that is always, always, always difficult for us English speakers, because we say McDonald's, but in Japanese it's McDonaldo, and it's really, really difficult. So whenever I introduce Japanese to some of my like friends who don't know Japanese, they always find it's very, very funny that Japanese has a lot of English words in it.
Yeah.
Right, but for us, pronouncing McDonald is difficult.
Yeah.
McDonald is more easier.
McDonaldo. It's difficult for me.
But you sounds perfect, McDonald.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
All right, we've got a question
here. What you guys usually eat?
I feel like I know what you're thinking of, Asha.
Wait, what do you think I'm thinking of, Gloria?
We had a whole... This is kind of tangential to the question, but Asha, I, and Sophie, our other leader, were talking about this interesting sandwich that has, I think it has pickles in it, and peanut butter, and mustard. Is that correct? Am I getting that right?
Yeah, one of the senior leaders told us about the sandwich, and we told ourselves we would try it this weekend.
Yeah, it's very strange for me because I've never had a sandwich like that. But sorry, to get back onto the original question. It's Gwen's sandwich.
Yeah. What I'm eating right now is, what I have right now is I have crunchy, sweet Korean fried chicken with rice.
Ooh. I'm hungry now. That sounds good.
Nice.
Love Korean fried chicken.
That sounds so delicious right now.
Yeah, Gloria, are you going to eat a pickle sandwich, or what's for you for dinner?
Not a pickle sandwich. Maybe not for dinner. I think that's a bit too adventurous for me for dinner. maybe later. For dinner. So for dinner, I came home and I made myself like a bagel with like fried egg on it. But I think in general, like I really, really like Japanese food. So something I made the other night is I made omurice for myself, which was really, really delicious. I like to make onigiri a lot and like put like tuna salad in it, or like kani, crab. But I also like just sandwiches too. Sandwiches are very versatile for me, but Japanese food is some of my favorite cuisine.
Yeah, omurice is so good. That's great. You make your own onigiri.
Yeah, no, it was really difficult to kind of get down at first because the rice kind of all fell apart. I think it's because the first time I used brown rice and it just wasn't working very well when I was first making it. But now that I've done it a few times, they stay solid and I can eat them.
Back on the topic of food, I love Japanese curry.
Me too.
It's my favorite. I bought golden curry mix today.
Yes.
Ah.
Yes.
And I'm making that tomorrow for my dinner for the next 3 days.
That's really funny you say that because I also made Japanese curry like last week. And I think I showed a photo to you. I wish I could show one here, but it was very, very delicious.
Nice. And move on to another question
more.
here. Yeah, favorite anime character.
You're asking really, really hard questions. Asha, do you have one? Or do you need time to think?
I need time to think because there's so many good characters.
Yeah. I think for me, this is not really an anime character. I mentioned it briefly before, but I really like Vocaloid. So Hatsune Miku has to be probably one of my longtime favorite like anime characters, if you count that as anime, technically.
So I forgot their names actually, but has anyone here seen Spy Family recently?
I watched it.
Yeah, I like. Oh my gosh, I like the little kid in Spy Family.
Oh, Anya?
Yeah, Anya. Because I think she's just hilarious. Another character I like is you guys might not know the show. It's from Welcome to Demon School Iruma-kun, and it's I love Iruma. He's my favorite character in that whole show because he's very relatable to everyone.
I'll have to check it out. I have not seen it.
Yeah, good recommendations. What else do we have?
We got another comment. We love McDonald's. Yes. We also say Mac.
Maku.
Oh, yeah.
Maku. Oh, that's a little easier to say.
Or Makudo.
Makudo. Okay.
Mm.
I'll remember that.
Okay, and another question here. When COVID settled, this person want to go to travel abroad. Is there any country you recommend?
I think Asha and I might be a little biased when we say come to the United States. But I would say please come to the United States if you can. We have a lot of diverse culture here and a lot of like diversity in terms of just food and people and kind of everything. I know, Asha, you're from the East Coast and I'm from like the West Coast. So if you would like to maybe share some of your recommendations for places, then I can share some of my California recommendations.
So I'm from the middle of the country. I say the East Coast is a lot better than the middle of the country. Just personal preference. But New York is really fun. There's always things to do here. Places do not close down at all. So you can find something to do 24/7. And you can always find free things to do on the weekends. That's my advertisement for New York City.
They also have good pizza there. New York style pizza.
And bagels.
Goodness, there's a lot of things to do in California. California is a very, very big place. We have a lot of nature here. We also have a lot of city life as well. That's something I really like about California is that there's a lot of things to do in terms of if you want to go camping for a weekend or if you want to visit nature. It's pretty close to most cities and pretty like convenient to go to. Probably not more than like a couple hour drive depending on where you're at. There's also a lot of great food. Specifically where I'm from, which is around the San Francisco area, we're pretty well known for like our Asian food as well. And LA, of course, also has really great Asian food, but I would recommend coming to San Francisco or LA. They have a lot of great food, a lot of things to do. We have great beaches. What else do we have? We just have a lot to do. Just come. It's much more fun if you come and see it than hear me describe it.
You're right, Gloria. We have everything in California. I'm a little biased too. You can see the mountains and the beach and the desert in one day.
Yes.
If you drive a lot.
True.
New York's great too, Asha. I do love it.
What's the New York pizza? I don't really know what's the special about New York pizza.
Okay, let me describe it. So New York pizza's very, very thin, and all the slices are very, very large. So you have to fold the pizza like a sandwich, and you have to eat it like a sandwich. And they're just ginormous pieces of pizza that are very, very thin and really, really good to eat because you get toppings and crust and everything in one bite.
Yeah, here in the United States, there's quite some, I guess, debate and discussion about what is the best pizza. Because there's New York style, there's Chicago style, there's a bunch of like different styles of pizza depending on where you go. And it's really funny because a lot of us people from the United States often get in debates and discussions about what is the best. So it is very, very subjective, but I urge you to go and try all of them and decide for yourself.
I will.
We've got some more questions.
Yeah. This one?
Mm.
What is your favorite food? My recommendation.
Yeah. I know Iya. I love Iya. That's actually really funny because she's probably one of next to Hatsune Miku is probably one of my favorites. And when I started getting into Vocaloid and also I haven't talked much about like my music passions. I'm a musician and I love making music. And what kind of got me started in actually making music and publishing it to like the internet was through Vocaloid programs. So Iya is very special to me because she's the first one that I actually bought and used. So she's one of my favorites.
I have a favorite Vocaloid often, but probably if I were to and Lynn, Ren and Lynn, I think are their names. I might be wrong.
You are correct.
Ooh, lots more coming in.
We
have time for a few more.
This one?
Hmm.
How do you keep motivated for studying?
Oh, good question. What do you guys
That
think?
is the question, all right. I know for me, it's always kind of difficult to keep motivation, especially for me during the summer, because I take Japanese classes at my university right now. So that keeps me very accountable and motivated to study. Because whenever I come into class, that's my space to practice Japanese. But during the summer and when I'm not taking classes, I try to get Japanese as involved in my life as possible. So when I have the opportunity to, I do things like change the language in my phone to Japanese to kind of get my brain like still processing Japanese and recognizing kanji. I also like to stick random kanji all over my room. It is very helpful for me and also my roommate, who also studies Japanese. So we have random kanji and we kind of change it up sometimes so that we're always kind of exposed to it. So I guess my answer to that question is involving it somehow in your life, even if it's very like small and you like aren't like studying in the traditional way. Just having like another language around you consistently, I found has helped me a lot in still practicing and still keeping like the habit up of integrating it into my life.
I study Japanese by actually having flashcard apps and review apps on my phone. I try to make it as much of a game as possible for me. And I also try to study on the bus or on the train that I have to take to get places, because I see if I'm going by public transportation, I have time, and that's how I study in my free time. But keeping motivated for studying, when I was in college, I just thought about graduation and how much I really wanted to graduate, do well.
Both really good advice. So hope everyone's listening. All right, we've got some more comments.
Yeah.
And questions. Oh, tough one.
I'm curious how COVID is in your country.
I don't know if you'd like to kick this one off, Asha. I know I've been speaking first a lot, so I want to give you a chance.
Sure. I think it depends on what area of the country you're in, because places like New York and a lot of the metropolitan cities, they deal with COVID more seriously. So we still have public mask mandates there, especially on public transportation. But in places that are more rural, it's very lax and it's different.
Yeah, I would agree with Asha. It depends on the part of country you're at. Depending on like the state that you live in, different states have different rules to follow. Like some states are a little bit more strict with how they deal with it and still require it in certain spaces, versus like other states that might be a little bit more like relaxed. Because I know right now, at least here where I'm at in California, the mask mandate is not required in a lot of places, but it is recommended, depending kind of on the places that you go as well. But I would say it's becoming a little bit more relaxed in my area right now.
Yeah, I think that it's a bit different from Japan. I think in Japan, everyone still wearing a mask.
Yeah, I know in a university, we still had our mask mandate last year when we had begun. And then some of the winter quarter, and then for our final quarter, we finally decided to remove it. So the mask mandate was not required for anyone. But I think around kind of the end, when cases started going up a little bit more, we started recommending them a little bit. So I know it's also a little bit different for universities as well, because they can impose their own like rules, whether or not they want masks or not.
Good point.
Okay, maybe then I need to pick one last question. So Yu-Yu-san says this person would like to go study abroad in the future. So are there any recommended destination for foreign study for Japanese students?
Again, I think we're biased. So come to the United States. But if it's a different country you want, maybe go to England. Or that might be a good opportunity. I'm not sure. Gloria, what about you?
Yes, I was just going to mention places here in the United States, because I can't speak for other countries, but I would say come to California. As I've mentioned before, we have a lot of beautiful things to like look at in terms of nature. And I know here at my university, and I believe Asha's and plenty of other universities, they have really great foreign exchange programs where you get to talk and meet with a lot of different people who might also be, like, for example, learning Japanese. I know at UC Santa Barbara, we have a bunch of Japanese, like, culture clubs as well. And one of the Japanese culture clubs that I've been to, we often have like little like club meetings, basically, where we can like talk with exchange students from Japan, and they can practice English and we can practice Japanese. So it's very nice, and you make lots of friends by doing so. And I find it's very reassuring to know that there are people who are also learning a new language. So even though it's still a little bit like nerve-wracking and you get like nervous, I still think it's like a fun way to meet friends and have that like culture exchange.
That's a great point. Yeah. And of course, we're biased. New York, Santa Barbara, Los Angeles, but the UK, South Africa, Canada, Australia, anywhere to immerse yourself in English would be an amazing experience. Yeah. Well, I think we're out of time. I'm so sorry for Yuki, Kaho, the other questions we
let me
we did not
quickly
get to.
the comments.
Oh, quick question. Pizza.
Oh,
yeah.
speed.
Oh yeah, this one. Yeah, pizza. Donut.
I like both.
Yeah,
Both.
why not both?
Yeah.
And also Kaho. Any places?
Oh, let's see. Let's do this one real
Hokkaido.
quick. 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Oh, Hokkaido.
Oh, Hokkaido. That I want to
Hokkaido.
visit. Oh, that's so hard. I want to visit everywhere. I want to go
Yeah.
everywhere. Hokkaido, Kyoto, Osaka, Fukuoka, Okinawa. I want to go everywhere. Too many.
Well, let's hope you both can go there soon, and that it's safe to travel soon to Hokkaido, Okinawa, wherever. All right. Anyways, thank you so much, Gloria and Asha. Appreciate
Thank you so
it.
much for having us.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yes. And thank you, students and coaches, for asking all the great questions and giving us the great comments. And oh my, there it is. I guess you have to go to Hokkaido. Thank you. Thank you. All right, everyone, enjoy the
Thank
rest
you.
of day 3. See you.
See you.